Hello, welcome to the stream. For those of you just joining us, we are starting with the Inner Workings of Tetris. And if you would like to introduce yourself, now would be a good time.
Now seems like as good a time of any. I'm Ben, pronouns are they, them. I made this game, The Inner Workings of Tetris, and I want to make more games. I'm an autistic game dev, and I don't know what kind of games I want to make because I keep losing motivation on all of them, but I want to do something.
That's a tough spot to be in, I know. I think one of the things that I personally try to do, trying to find motivation sometimes is difficult, but actually, how about, why don't you tell us how it was that you found the motivation to make this particular game? What was your inspiration behind it?
So I knew this was one of the biggest, this is the biggest jam on Itch for the last 4 years. And for reasons, I never participated in any of the other three, despite following GMTK the whole time. And this year I wasn't sure if I was going to participate again, just because I've been feeling a bit lacking motivation with my main project. And after taking a break with my main project, I still was pretty low energy. So I didn't think I would have the energy to do this weekend. Since I'm in the US, the theme was announced at 2 p.m. while I was still at work, so I just sort of let the theme simmer in me for a while. I use it for some thinking time. I have like I imagine most artists do, I sort of have a bank of ideas in my mind that I just like wistfully think, wouldn't it be cool if I could do this? So I mostly was thinking about how I can fit these games I already thought of into the theme. That... Go on.
Oh no, I just I have a similar document of like dozens of game ideas that I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us how you actually decided on this one?
Yeah, so I was thinking of those ideas first. Stuff like the favorite one that I'm been on for the last few weeks is basically an RPG in a board game universe. So the aesthetic is that everything is like little board game components. So the idea that I came to using that was basically a puzzle game using the roll to move mechanic. Since you don't actually control how much you move, just the direction. So I started working that for a bit before deciding it wasn't working out great. But from there, I thought about other uses of randomness, and I thought of Tetris, and I immediately fell in love with this idea, and I knew I wanted to make it happen.
Yeah, I love the idea that you are the little Tetris fairy supplying the pieces. So... Ooh, and things are really picking up for me. This is going to be... this is great, because you doing the talking lets me focus on the game, and then the folks watching can actually see a halfway decent attempt at playing this. No! See, the moment I start talking, the moment I start messing up. So, would you be... It is! Okay, so what was your development process for this game? You mentioned that you kind of had a bit of a false start with one of them, but then you decided on this. So can you talk a bit about how you actually put this together? Like, what's this made in? Is it Unity?
Yeah, it's Unity. Unity is basically the only thing I know. I've played a lot with Pico 8, and I really enjoy it. But I've been using Unity for... is it like 5 years now? I started my first year in college. What I found works best, especially for game jams, is just get incremental progress. So like, just get something to work and show that it works, and then add a little more to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting with a... Go ahead.
Yeah. For example, for this, I started with just... I already had the being able to drag and drop pieces from an old project. Being able to reuse snippets like that really helped fast iteration. So I already had that ready. So what I started with is just a script to put Tetris pieces down. And I just started by putting them down randomly and clicking and dragging to show that it worked. Once I had that working, I started working on a way to place them intelligently so it wasn't just random, and going on from there, so on and so forth.
Okay, that sounds great. Would you say, is there any particularly clever hack or shortcut that you used in this game that you wouldn't use in a production project?
So, two things come to mind for that, which is, first, I have a script which is called Do Everything Else, which just handles everything that isn't like core to the experience, like basically main menu interactions, starting the game, and stuff like the options, like the colorblind mode. I couldn't build it in directly, so it's just, buttons call these functions and that's it.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I built it sort of mechanics first without in mind for like what it would look like, which is often what I do for a lot of my games. And it's not always the best way because graphics are nice and they're important. So when I started just working with just a white background and just blank colored bricks that get random colors when they go in the field. But then when I need to add the colors, I had a problem where I needed to make the colors not random, so it would just look nicer. But then there's the issue where if you have like a green piece, you can't put it in the green zone or else it'll blend in there. And that's how I came up with the mechanic in the normal mode. You can't send the same color pieces to the same color zone, which seems to be really core to making it a more interesting puzzle.
Yeah, I think I'm just about to lose the game here, but the only reason I'm able to play this on stream at all is because I'm not playing in that particular game mode, but I'd encourage viewers to check it out. And I'd also like to mention...
I was just going to say, blue is pretty close and you saved it, so it's not over yet.
Yeah, well, I think I'm just about done on all counts here, but I'm going to focus a bit more on the interview now. So I'm going to let this... There it goes. Okay. So yes, I'd encourage viewers to play it and give it their full attention. Did you have to cut or change anything in order to finish the game on time?
Nothing immediately comes to mind. I was able to scope this pretty well. Between some of the scripts I already had, which it's really helpful to have a library of reusable scripts. So stuff like being able to drag and drop the pieces without coding all that, which would be tedious.
Yeah.
And just nice little touches like the pieces popping in instead of just click.
Yeah, little bits of game juice, right?
Yeah, juice is important for everything. So the closest thing to having to... So I was able to scope this pretty well in that most of what I had to work on was the actual Tetris logic.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just mixing and matching functions. When you drop the piece in this zone, call the function that puts it into the Tetris zone, etc. So the only thing that does come to mind is that I wanted to put more work into the AI, but by the time I had everything working, I wasn't sure if it was necessary or not. So to elaborate on that, Right now, the AI prioritizes making clears and keeping things away from the top middle. So it'll try and hug the wall and it'll try to build low. So the AI is decently smart, but the issue with that is that you can basically just drag and drop pieces anywhere without regard to if it's like if the piece will be helpful or not, and it'll be fine. It'll never basically be the worst case scenario, which turns it more into how fast can you drag and drop than
how strategically do you end up playing?
Yeah, then strategic. Which piece should I send to which one?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about it more after the jam, and it's actually just a really interesting problem about how you can make that an interesting decision. Like, make it a smart best move, but also not smart enough that if you do a piece that's not optimal, maybe it'll hurt you, and not just always go for the best place.
I think the comment that I left on your rating page was, I would love to see this as an asymmetrical multiplayer game with other humans.
Yeah, I didn't think of that until pretty close to the end of the jam when someone else brought that up. But I think there would be a fantastic idea, and it's really compelling. And just imagine like you and 3 or so mates just yelling, "Give me the L! Give me no, that's the wrong L!"
Yeah, that's exactly what I was envisioning.
Yeah. I can see that being a really compelling experience.
Yeah, I'm going to put out the call to chat. If anyone has any questions that they have that they'd like to ask, I'll pass them on. But just in the meantime, while we allow for some time for the questions to come in, I do have a couple more here. Which is, what are your plans for the game going forward? Like what we just discussed, do you envision making that happen?
Right. So, I won't immediately work on any co-op stuff because I want to think through how the best way to do that first. But I have already started working on some other feedback I've gotten, such as the colors in puzzle mode are just like yellow, green, and is the other one blue, which aren't really that pretty to look at, and aren't also the best for telling them apart, which may or may not be important. Other feedback I've got is like the background potentially causing motion sickness. So I've already started working on some updates for those. And I'd like to put this out like as a full game that I can sell, but obviously because of the connection to Tetris, I'm not sure how we can go about that.
I think you would have to go for a game that is Tetris adjacent, can't call it Tetris, can't actually have the same gameplay as Tetris, because I'm pretty sure that's currently held by Electronic Arts, and they would come after you for, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was doing some research into it, and the Tetris company does license out to third-party creators, but
okay, so it's a possibility.
What the price of that would be.
Yeah.
Other than that, I could try getting away with like calling it like AI-controlled falling block puzzle game, but
you never know. You might end up creating something that is even better optimized to the idea of the asynchronous or asymmetrical multiplayer than the Tetris formula. Like, you don't have to stick strictly with this. I think it's a great idea for the jam, but if you want to make this your own, you can change it. Don't be beholden to making it the exact same. Oh boy.
The nice thing with Tetris is that everyone already knows how to play Tetris.
Yeah.
Versus if I like made my own puzzle game, I have to introduce the mechanics to the puzzle game, and then there's like the twist. Oh, you're not actually playing this puzzle game. You're the AI for it. I
completely agree. Building off the familiarity is useful.
Yeah, building off the familiarity is like part of why I think this has done so well in the jam. Because I've got a lot of great feedback and a lot of eyes on it, which feels good. And I don't doubt that it's impossible to like do this with another idea well, but it's just really nice to do it with an established game where I don't have to introduce the mechanics.
Oh, we have a question coming in from chat. How did you feel when you got a shout out from Mark Brown?
I feel fantastic. I saw that there was one when I submitted it that he said it was a really interesting idea. If he said anything more public out of the Discord, then I haven't seen it, but it made me feel really awesome that he thinks it's a cool idea. And so do a lot of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll second that. I do think it's a really cool idea. Unfortunately, with the rapid fire schedule that I have booked for today, we've got about 4 minutes left before I got to start wrapping up and getting the next person set up. So are there any closing thoughts? Anything you want to say?
Nothing in particular. Just I was really excited about this project and I had a lot of fun making it. It makes me want to question my motives in the future because I was working on another project called Golf NATO before this, which I wasn't as excited about making the last few weeks. So I'm going to revisit what I want my motivations to be between making games for fun versus making them not for a profit because I don't need the money, but being able to sell games at a cost and maybe give the money to charity.
That would be incredible. So people can find you at Bean Borg?
Yeah, Bean Borg and Neurodiversion, both of them in the top right corner of the game.
Yeah, okay, excellent.
Bean Borg is my personal one, and Neurodiversion is what I use for all my game stuff.
Okay, well, is there anything else you want to plug before we wrap things up for now?
No, just plugging those two, I think, is enough for me.
Cool. Well, once again, I'm going to put the link to the game in chat, and I would recommend everyone to give it a try, see how far you can get once you're actually giving it your full attention. Thank you so much for joining me today, and best of luck with the game.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck with the rest of your interviews.
Thank you so much.